Today our story is about the Whispering Debt. In the quiet town of Blackridge, nestled between misty hills and an ancient forest, there lived a man named Elliot Graves. Elliot was neither wealthy nor poor, neither a saint nor a sinner, just an ordinary man with an extraordinary burden. 15 years ago, he made a promise that had since shaped his life in ways he could never have imagined. At 25, Elliot was a reckless dreamer, lost in debts and misfortunes of his own making. One night, after losing everything in a foolish bet, he found himself at the town's old wishing well, an ancient relic wrapped in ivy and forgotten legends. Drunk and desperate, he tossed in his last silver coin and whispered, "If I can have another chance, I'll do anything." To his shock, the wind stirred, and a voice, soft yet firm, rose from the well. "A second chance comes at a price. Will you honor your word when the time comes?" Fearing it was a hallucination, Elliot scoffed and said, "Yes, anything." The moment he uttered those words, his world changed. A mysterious job offer arrived the next morning, his debts vanished overnight, and luck seemed to favor him at every turn. Within a year, he was a successful businessman, engaged to the love of his life, and living comfortably. But as the years passed, he forgot about the well, about the promise, until the day the debt came due. One cold October night, Elliot sat alone in his study, reviewing contracts for a new business deal, when a knock echoed through his empty house. When he opened the door, a man stood before him, tall and gaunt, draped in a long charcoal coat. His eyes, a colorless abyss, held no warmth. "Mr. Graves," the man said, his voice smooth as silk. "It is time." Elliot frowned. "Time for what?" The man tilted his head. "For you to honor your promise." A chill ran down Elliot's spine. He had long dismissed that night at the well as a foolish memory, a drunken fantasy. But standing before him was proof that it had been all too real. "What do you want?" Elliot whispered. The man extended a single black envelope. "Inside, you will find the details. You have 3 days." And then, just as suddenly as he had arrived, the man disappeared into the night. Elliot hesitated before opening the envelope. When he finally did, his blood ran cold. "You must take a life before the 3rd night ends." His hands shook as he reread the words, but there was no mistake. The fortune he had built, the life he cherished, it had all come at a cost he now had to repay. Panic set in. He couldn't kill someone. He wouldn't. There had to be a way out. He spent the next 2 days searching for answers, poring through books, consulting old town records, even visiting the well again. But the well was silent. On the 3rd day, exhaustion took hold, and he sat in his study, staring at his reflection in the window. Could he live with losing everything? Before he could answer, a familiar voice spoke. "You have made your decision, then." Elliot turned sharply. The man in the charcoal coat stood by the fireplace, watching him. "I can't do it," Elliot said. "I won't." The man sighed, almost disappointed. "A promise is a promise, Mr. Graves." Elliot swallowed hard. "Then take everything. My fortune, my home, take it all, but spare me this." The man's cold expression did not change. "You misunderstand. The price was never your wealth." Elliot's stomach twisted. "Then what?" The man stepped closer, his shadow stretching across the room. "Your soul, Mr. Graves. You did not promise riches. You promised anything." A weight pressed upon Elliot's chest as the realization sank in. The wealth, the success, it had all been a loan. And now, it was time to pay. Desperation clawed at Elliot's throat. There must be another way. The man raised an eyebrow. A trade, perhaps. Elliot clung to the sliver of hope. A trade? For what? The man gestured toward a framed photograph on Elliot's desk, his wife, Amelia, smiling at him. Elliot's breath caught. No, not her. The man remained silent, waiting. Elliot's mind raced. If he refused, his soul would be lost. If he accepted, he would lose the woman he loved. He had promised to protect her, to cherish her. Could he break one promise to escape another? His heart pounded. The seconds stretched. Finally, he squared his shoulders and spoke, his voice steady. No. The man's expression remained unreadable. Then, after a long pause, he nodded. Then your fate is sealed. Darkness engulfed the room. Elliot's knees buckled, and he felt himself being pulled into an abyss. His last thought was not of regret, but of relief. He had made the right choice. When Amelia woke the next morning, Elliot was gone. His fortune remained, his name still carried weight, but he had vanished without a trace. The only clue was a single black envelope on his desk, empty save for the words. Though she searched for him for years, he was never found. The town whispered legends about the man who had made a deal with the well, and some claimed to see a shadowy figure watching over Amelia from afar, protecting her even from the void. Elliot Graves had lost himself, but he had saved the one thing that truly mattered. And in that, he found redemption.